Come join Melissa and her guests on the Chats from the Blog Cabin podcast. From North Carolina, this podcast will have you feeling like you've known these folks for years. Listen in as they chat about life, culture, current events, and more, all with a special Southern flair. Curl up with your favorite beverage and get ready to be entertained. Tune in now for a unique experience that's fun and insightful.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Chats from the Blog Cabin, the show where I virtually invite people into the blog cabin to chat about life. And this month, March, is a little bit different because this month is Women's History Month. So instead of doing regular episodes that I interview just on Wednesdays, I'm actually going to be doing an episode every single day in the month of March. Some will be interviews with amazing women who are doing amazing things. Some are going to be some solo interviews, me talking about either giving you a history lesson about an unknown woman, a little bit of, because it is Women's History Month, or it could be me paying tribute to people who are in my circle of the world. So letting you in a little bit more. Plus on social media, I cannot wait for this. I have these questions I have 31 women that I'm going to be profiling on social media, and I'm sending them a question, a random question. I just put their number, put 1 through 31 in the randomizer, the first person that comes back, and I get their number. That's the question they get. I'm not picking and choosing whichever question they go to. It just goes to that. So that's going to be really fun on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram. And I may end up wrapping it all up into a whole podcast episode with just the women at the end of the month. I don't know yet. I haven't decided that far. But today I want to talk about something. And first I want to start out with a quote since it is Women's History Month. And the quote is, "A strong woman stands up for herself. A stronger woman stands up for everybody else." And it's attributed to an unknown person. But there's also one that says, "Each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women." And it's Maya Angelou. Now, I want to talk about finding your tribe, the women who hold you up. This has carried me through seasons of joy, heartbreak, doubt, after motherhood, marriage, and everything in between. We're talking about finding your tribe of women, not the big flashy group, not the Instagram worthy brunch table, but the sacred circle. The ones who hold pieces of your heart, because if there's one thing I have learned, it's this. You don't need 100 women. You don't need 1,000 Instagram followers or 10,000 or 1,000,000 Instagram followers. You just need that core group that's going to know you better than you know yourself. And you just need a handful of real ones that are going to get you. They're going to understand you. They're not going to judge you. They're going to be there when you need someone to talk to, regardless of what's going on. And I want to tell you about my group. First, there's Donna. Donna's the one that I actually wrote on Substack about. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Told me this when I was going through a really rough time after my mom died, during her funeral and everything else, because, you know, I have a very complicated relationship with my mom. I loved my mom. I'm not really sure how she felt about me. Honestly, I didn't ever feel unconditional love from her, but that's another story for another day. But Donna was always there to listen. We started getting really close during COVID, and we decided we were going to start walking together. And we walked. I mean, she was the only person that could ever get me up out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning to go for a walk. Seriously, because at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm not a morning person. I don't like to get up early. I'll get up, but I'll stay in bed and do other things until I'm finally ready to start my day. So she was the one there. So she's my faith anchor. She's the one I go to with all my faith questions. Like if I'm writing a devotional or something like that, I send it to her, ask her, "Hey, will you read this and tell me what you think about it?" And she's just my person I go to. And let me tell you, I always have questions when I'm wrestling with scripture, when I'm struggling with something I read, whether it's something I struggle with as far as detail wise about what's going on. And I'm sorry, my nose is running a little bit. Whether I'm struggling with something that's faith-based and I'm wondering if I'm feeling conviction or just indigestion, I call Donna. She doesn't judge. We don't talk often. She doesn't rush it either, but she's always there for me. She listens and she says, "Okay, let's talk about this." And she means it. She reminds me that faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about being willing to ask the hard questions. Every woman needs a Donna in their life. Someone safe enough for your doubts. And then there's Beth. Oh my gosh, I should just say Beth for the very end, but I've got to talk about Beth. Beth was a friend that I knew years ago. We taught together, and then she moved back 2 years ago. And when she messaged me and told me she was moving and that she was moving back to North Carolina, I was literally ran to Gracie's room, my youngest daughter's room, in tears, crying, happy tears, because I missed her so much. And she moved back. She did not know when she moved back that she was literally less than 5 minutes away from my house now. Before, I would have to go into town to visit her, but now she's like 5 minutes away from my house. If the roads were better, I would literally walk to her house. But people are crazy on the road, and there's not a walkway that you can walk, so I'm not walking to her house. Beth is the one that I bare my heart and soul to. You know that friend you can voice message at 10:47 p.m. when you're crying in your bathroom and no one hears you? That's Beth. She knows the messy part. She knows the fears. She knows the insecurities, the moments when I feel like I don't measure up, the days when I'm tired of being strong. She has seen me without makeup, without a bra, even though I don't think she realizes it. Well, she kind of has realized it. Didn't have a bra on. She's there spiritually, emotionally, and she just stays. She's seen me raw, and literally she's seen me literally about to blow chunks. Because we were in New York. I'll give you one story. We were in New York and we went on this full day of sightseeing in New York. So I went to New York over the last year. And we were supposed to go to a Broadway show. If you know, I love Housewives. So we were supposed to go see Erica Jane in Chicago. And I ended up getting sick. But she literally was right there. And I mean, I literally could not even stand up because I was so nauseous. And I think it was because I was on the boat and we had to run so fast that I didn't have a chance to slow down and stop. But she was there. So she's seen everything that she's seen on planes. We've gone in cars and we do things together all the time. And we actually have conversations that a lot of people will look at our conversation going, wow, you guys talk about that? But that's what we talk about. So there's something holy about a woman that can sit in your pain and not try to fix you. And that's what I love about Beth. She doesn't try to fix me. She just listens to me. Like about a month or so ago, I messaged her and said, I haven't been the greatest friend to you. I'm so sorry. But with everything going on in this country, I really am worried about my husband. And there's some days I don't even feel like getting out of bed. And, immediately she came back. I understand, friend. I get it. And I'm here if you need me. Not saying, oh, well, you should get up and you should do this and you should do that. No, she understood me. She heard me. She needed me. And it's so funny because I actually asked her to be part of the social media project. And even though I knew it wasn't her wheelhouse, I could not ask her because I felt like I was going to be dishonoring our friendship if I didn't ask her. I gave her the opportunity to say no because I knew the answer was going to be no, but I just said, I got to ask. Because if I didn't ask, I would feel like I wasn't being true to who I was because she is one of the most important person in my life. She's one of the important friends in my life that I wanted to make sure that I reached out and asked her. Of course, she said no because that's not her real house. She reminds me that vulnerability isn't weakness and that being vulnerable, it's okay. And I actually am probably being more vulnerable with these women that I have conversations with right now that I'm talking about than I have ever been with anybody else in my life. That serious. And then there's Emily. Emily has been on the podcast multiple times. Donna was actually on the podcast too. She's kicking it with keto. I will link her episode. But Emily has been on the podcast multiple times. Literally, Emily opened my heart to what a farmer does. And just because I worked for her for so long, I really miss our times when we were doing CSAs, when we'd sit and we would have conversations together when we were doing CSA work. And, we don't get to see each other that often because she has a busy life. I mean, her children are a lot younger than mine. So her time is taken up with them. But she understands the struggle of family life in a way that doesn't require explanation. When I say it's just been one of those days, she doesn't ask for details. She will ask me questions. And I'll message her back. We'll text each other all the time. And matter of fact, she's so sweet. The other day, she texted me and said, she just started a new job. And she said that she was it was in a senior center, and she was actually being the activities director, and they were doing Valentine's, and one lady did a journal page, and she thought about me because we used to get together all the time on the week in January and do a vision board. We haven't done it in years, and it's now February, and I finally put mine up, but I still haven't placed anything on the vision board for this year, so I'm waiting to do that. She just knows. She gets the mental load. She gets the calendar juggling, the meal planning, the worrying, the loving so hard, sometimes it hurts. She understands the balance of being a wife, a mom, a woman with dreams, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, and how sometimes those roles collide with each other. With Emily, I don't have to justify why I'm tired. She already knows why, because she's been there too. Every woman needs someone who understands the weight she carries without asking her to explain it. And that's Emily for me. And then there's Sharon. Sharon is my partner, was my partner in crime when I was teaching. I did an intern teaching for a music teacher of K through 2 when my girls were in school, and Sharon was the other music teacher in the school. And Sharon is amazing. I love Sharon. You cannot not be happy around Sharon because she is so funny. She even things that you wouldn't think was funny, she would think would be funny, and her reactions are so funny. I remember a couple of years ago, we had bought tickets to Nile Horn for Gracie's birthday party. Gracie's birthday one year, and Sharon had bought tickets with her daughters to go as well, and we didn't find out except through the other friend who I'm going to talk about in just a minute. And so we ended up sitting together, and we just had the best time. Neither one of us knew we were going, but we ended up being together and just having the best time, and a lot of stuff came out through that. And I love her. We got close when I was teaching, and somewhere between lesson plans, hall duty, morning duty, we built a friendship that's rooted in laughter, and I really cherish her friendship. She's one of those people that all these people, actually, they needed me, I would drop everything and go to them. She's that spontaneous text where I haven't heard from her in a month, the inside joke, the let's do it anyway friend. We have so much fun together, and sometimes fun is ministry. And I love the fact that she gets me out of my comfort zone. I tried sushi for the very first time with Sharon. Now, I absolutely adore sushi. I went to my first drag show with Sharon and the other friend that I'm going to talk about in a minute. The best time. Oh my gosh, we laughed. We had the best time. It was just so amazing. So she's just amazing. And not every friendship has to have a deep theological discussions or tear-filled conversations. Some friendships are about remembering that you're allowed to laugh, still allowed to be playful, even though we're old as Methuselah, are still allowed to enjoy your life. Sharon reminds me that friendship doesn't always have to be heavy to be meaningful. And then there's Sherry. Sherry's the other friend that I talked about. Sherry asks the questions I don't normally want to answer. She knows these questions. You know those questions. The ones that hit a little too close. The ones that require you to stop deflecting away from everything. The ones that gently corner you into honesty. For everyone else, I might dodge them, change the subject, make a joke. But for Sherry, I'll answer them. Sherry, like I said, all these women I would go out of my way to be there for them when they needed me. Sharon and Sherry showed up when my dad passed away. Sharon and Sherry also showed up when my mom passed away. They came to visitation that night, and they, unbeknownst to me, they were going across the street from the funeral home. They were just eating dinner, and we were going after the visitation. If you're not familiar with what visitation is, it's when you go see the family before the funeral. And we decided to do it in 2 different days because I knew there were people that could not be there on the day of the visitation that could be there on the day of the funeral. They could be there for visitation. And we go into the restaurant after the visitation, and who do we see but Sharon and Sherry? Now, I'm talking my whole family. We're talking about my 3 girls, my son-in-law, Lex, my husband, and we were all going to this Mexican restaurant to eat. And when we walked in, I sat down with them and talked with them the whole time that my family ate because I just needed to talk to them. And so they were there for me. And so when both their dads passed away, well, Sherry's dad passed away, I drove 4 hours to be there by her side when, even though she lives literally in the other direction. I mean, literally, most of them live within 5 minutes of me, except for Donna and Sharon live a little bit further out. But when I knew that I needed to be there for Sherry because she was there for me. And I knew what she was going through because we had similar situations where both our dads were in hospice care. We were really struggling, and just knowing that I could make a difference in her life like she made in mine, I knew I had to be there for her. And so I drove 4 hours to go to a funeral to a man I didn't even know. I met one time in my life, but I did it for my sister, not my sister, for Sherry. I did it for her. I feel like she's my sister. I did it for her and just really had all intentions of doing it and being there for her. And I wasn't going to tell her, but I ended up having to tell her because she had texted me because we had sent flowers, and she was all upset, crying over the flowers. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to put her in that position where she's like that anymore. I just did. I had to tell her. And so with Sharon, the same way. Sherry and I both drove, which was maybe an hour and a half away for when Sharon's mom passed away. And we both drove over there because we would both be in that position if we needed to be. And I actually messaged Sharon and said, hey, I know you're probably at work, you're probably working, but Gracie and I are going to go up because Sherry was also Gracie's 5th grade teacher. I said, Gracie and I are going to go up and be there for Sherry for her dad's funeral. And she's like, yeah, unfortunately, I can't take any more time off of work, but please give her a hug for me. And that's what I did. And so it meant the world to me to be able to do that for her, to pay it forward like she did for me, but I didn't know the impact that it would have on her. So she's the one. It's just all these women right here are ones that I can be my true self with. I don't have to hide anything. If I'm struggling with something that one of my girls have said to me, if I'm struggling with something Raul and I are struggling with, I don't hide with them. I know I put on the facade sometimes of being like, I don't have flaws or don't, a happy, peppy person. But there's times where I'm so depressed that I can't even get out of bed. And these are the women that I would get out of bed for. These were the women, if they called me, even though I was in the massive depressive mood, all I want to do is not even put a bra on. I literally would go without a bra and just wear a sweatshirt. I think I just told on myself. Just wear a sweatshirt and go and meet them wherever they're at. So that's it. Your tribe is the ones that, and everybody serves a different purpose. Not everybody has to be everything for everybody, but you can be one thing for somebody. And those amazing women are the women that are my core tribe. They're the ones that 4 of them know each other. Emily only has met Beth, I think. She hasn't met Donna. And she had maybe met Donna. I'm not sure, but I think she's met Donna. But the rest of them kind of know each other because of teaching and we all taught together. So it kind of goes like there. So here's what I've learned. Your tribe doesn't have to look the same. One might strengthen your faith. One might guard your heart. One might understand your family life. One might bring the laughter. One might stretch you toward growth. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be everything to everyone. I learned the hard lesson of opening myself up to people that I thought were my friends, and they ended up not being my friends and ended up going back. And literally, I feel every time I'm around them now, I feel like I don't belong. They made me feel less than. They laughed about me behind my back. They spread vicious lies about me. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. Just like I need different women for different parts of my life, they need different women too. There's freedom in that. Maybe you're listening today and thinking, I don't have that. Let me gently tell you this. Tribes are built and they're not found overnight. Some friendships are grown in classrooms, like I told you. Beth, Sherry, Sharon, and myself all worked at the same school. Some over walks, some in text threads, some in shared tacos. It takes time. It takes showing up. It takes being brave enough to go first. And sometimes it starts with being the kind of friend you're praying for. Be the Donna, be the Beth, be the Emily, be the Sharon, be the Sherry. And trust that God will knit together the circle you need. As women, we carry so much. We need safe spaces where we can actually have conversations about each other, about what we're going on in our life, to be vulnerable, to be trustworthy, to share and know that what we're sharing is not going to be shared around the universe. We need laughter, and we have laughter. We need mutual love and respect of other things. We need accountability. We need someone who will pray with us and someone who will just sit with us in all our mess and someone who will tell us the truth. We are never meant to do this alone. So today I just want to say thank you to the women who hold me up. And if you have a tribe, text them after this episode. Tell them what they mean to you. And if you're still building yours, don't give up. Your circle's out there. I read a quote somewhere where it said, friends are there for a certain point of your life. They go in and out of your life. And they're only there to serve a purpose. And then once their purpose is done, God removes them and adds other people in their life. But I am very lucky to say that my tribe with Emily, Donna, Beth, Sherry, and Sharon, I've had this tribe for years. And I finally found that safe space that I had longed for like ever. I finally found them. You are worthy of being surrounded by women who see you, know you, and stay. That's the thing. I know it's hard as women to be vulnerable. It's hard for us to be vulnerable. We always have to act like we have it all together. When in fact, if you go look at my house right now, I'm not sharing pictures, but my house, I do not have it all together. My office is nice and neat because it's what I can control. But my house, major renos going through, and I stop in the middle of it and I start another project, and then I stop and start another project. So I got half projects done in my house. And I know my husband does it. It gets on my last nerves. But I guess for me, I guess it's okay. But I don't know. But there are things in your life, people that are meant to be in your life, and the people that will hold you up and listen to your truth, listen to you being vulnerable, and not judge you for it. I remember when I went to New York with Beth, we had a conversation while we were sitting at she was in one bed and I was in the other bed, and we're like, we're having a girls trip, and I told her how vulnerable I felt about going to we were there for a book launch for Sherry Leeds Table for 51, and I was one of the people and the 50 women that she sat down and had a meal with across the 50 states. She went and had a meal with each one woman from each state, and I was North Carolina. And I remember telling Beth that I really felt like out of place in the group. I'd wanted to go. I was so excited about going, but when I got there, I was so filled with apprehension. She's like, "You're going to be great. You're going to be great. You're going to be great." And I'm glad I had her with me. We had the conversations that we needed to have, and it was great. And she was who I needed to be. I will say she's my emotional support friend out of all of them, because I'm more vulnerable with her because things came up on that trip that I was able to express to her that I wouldn't have expressed to anybody else. But she's also knowing to say, hey, you know what? I need some quiet time. Or, hey, you know what? I don't feel like going. I don't feel like getting dressed. And I'm like, I got you, girl, because some days I don't feel like getting dressed either. So, you're worthy of being surrounded by women who see you, know you, and stay. So find your tribe, be someone's tribe, and never underestimate the power of women who choose to link arms instead of compete. And that's what we should have. Cooperation over competition. We need to be there, sit there with someone, and not compete with them. If this episode encouraged you, share it with a friend, maybe one of your tribe. And I'll meet you back here next time for the Blog Cabin, where who knows what I'm going to have next coming up. So, bye now.